What's going on, guys? This is the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Jones, and we have a very, very special today. We got our mock draft, the first one of the year. Super excited to have this, and I got a room full of great guys to help me break down this draft. They're gonna do their mocks. I got my man Ben over here. I got my man Jack. I got my man Jacob. I got my man Ray. How you guys doing? How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, and I'm real excited to see what these guys have in store for the first round.
Let's do this. Jack, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I've just been, enjoying doing draft coverage, reading up mock drafts, making my own. Get to see what we do today.
Definitely. Jacob, what's going on?
Living the dream.
Always good to hear. And you already know the guy, Ray. What's going on, Ray?
How you doing there, guys?
That's great. We're not going to hold you guys up any longer because we got a full mock draft special today. So we're going to get right into it. And we're going to get into pick number 1. We got the Jags on the clock. Now, who has the Jags? That'll be my guy, Ray. He has the Jags right now. He's on the clock. I already know his pick. I think all you guys already know his pick. But I'm going to let him announce his pick to you guys right now. Ray, who's going to be the first overall pick in the 2021 draft?
It's probably the easiest pick of the draft so far. Going to be Trevor Lawrence, man. Best quarterback in college football for like 3 years now. Pretty much, I hate the term that people want to give the prospects of all. I just think that he's the best quarterback in college football. Has been. I mean, if you're Jacksonville, you just got to move the page and move on with, one of the top college quarterbacks in the last 10 years, maybe.
Definitely, for sure. And we got some comments in here. We got Mr. Collins. He said, my boy Kep is the GOAT. So that'll be Jacob. So, Jacob got a little fan base out here. But I want to know what you guys think about the pick. Obviously, I think most of us agree with the pick. Do you guys think any different? You think it might be a little different of a pick? Maybe the Jazz might change their mind after all these months. Anybody here think differently?
No.
I think we're all on the same page with that because Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy right there, and it's just hard to kind of deny that. So let's get into our second pick. We got the Jets on the clock. Jacob, you are on the clock. We already know who you got in here. I want you to kind of explain who you got and who you're going to pick for the second spot to the Jets.
This didn't take long for me to think this up. I think Justin Fields is the pick here for the Jets. I believe the Jets have been needing a franchise quarterback for years now, and they don't know. I don't know if Sam Darnold's the guy. I think Justin Fields has a very good shot at being the guy. You have a new regime with Robert Saleh and his coordinator LaFleur. I think that Justin Fields could be the potential face of the franchise and turn the Jets around moving into the 2020s.
Definitely. So a lot of people have the Jets taking a quarterback. Some people think the Jets are going to take a different quarterback or might not even take a quarterback, might even trade down. We're not doing trade downs, by the way, in this mock draft if you don't know. But I want to hear from you guys. Is Justin Fields the pick for you guys? Ben, what do you think?
In my opinion, Justin Fields is still quarterback 2, and that other quarterback you were talking about, Zach Wilson, he's definitely one option that I've seen a lot of people mock to the Jets, but I think Wilson's combination of mobility and that arm he's got and his play recognition abilities, I think the Jets could use a nice little spark in their organization. I think Fields is really the guy that's going to be able to provide that.
I'm sorry. I said Jacob. Jack, I'm going to get your names mixed up all the time, by the way. It's too many J's. Jack?
So Justin Fields, just like Ben said, he's my quarterback 2. His leadership ability is something that I feel like puts him at second tier. The thing is the Jets are also going to still have to evaluate Sam Darnold, have to go through the free agency period, have to do a lot of work here. So this is honestly where the draft is going to start in April, whenever pick 2 rolls around. I think that they're going to go Justin Fields. I think that would be a smart idea and just see what you can get for Darnold at that point.
And Ray, what do you think?
If I were to Jets, I wouldn't take a quarterback here, but if you're going to take him, I guess he has the best body of work of the guys that are left. So
Interesting. All right. So let's get to our next pick here. And with that being said, that would be the number 3 Dolphins. Now, this is Ray's team, but he's not picking his team. He had the luxury of seeing Ben destroy his team. So, Ben, you already got your guy in there. You already know who you're going to get. Ben, who are you drafting for the Miami Dolphins?
So, ultimately, we're not doing any trades in our mock draft. I think in the real draft, if there is a trade, Miami's in a great spot to trade down, not only because there's going to be a lot of teams moving up to draft a quarterback, but because those top receivers are really going to be difficult to separate. But ultimately, if the Dolphins do stay at 3, I think the smart move is going to be drafting a guy that their young quarterback is already really familiar with, and that guy is Devonta Smith. I mean, he had one of the best wide receiver seasons of anyone in the last, for as long as I can remember, at least in college football. His route running is top notch, his footwork, his after the catch ability. He really does have it all. And that 175 weight number, I don't think you could put too much stock in it because he just is that good.
Definitely. Before we get to everybody else, we got a comment here. He said, I came in late. Who the Jets take? The Jets have taken Justin Fields, just to let you guys know. So, Ray, what do you think about that pick since you are the advocate for the Dolphins?
if Devonta Smith weighs 170 right now, I'd be shocked he didn't weigh in. I'd bet he's closer to 165 with the 3rd pick in the draft. I wouldn't take him there.
Ben, what do you think? I'm sorry, Jacob.
I really like Devonta Smith. I think that I don't think he's done growing. I don't think he's going to be 170. And even if he is, there have been guys that have been smaller that have had success. I mean, Marvin Harrison was around 170. Chad Johnson said that he played around 175, 180 when he was in the pros. So I think he has the technical ability to be a really good player at the next level.
All right. And Jack, what do you think about the pick?
I agree with Jacob. I'm not really putting too much stock in that weight number. If the guy can play, he can play. There's a lot of rules, especially now, protecting those guys going over the middle. You're not going to get those kill shots like you used to get back in the day, about a decade ago. So I think he can be successful in the league. He has all the technical abilities. And with these top 3-4 wide receivers, it's whoever the team likes. So if the Dolphins think Devonta and Tua can work together, go for it. See what can happen.
Can I ask this, though? Is anybody worried about the fact they interviewed Devonta Smith on Monday and he said he preferred Mac Jones over Tua?
Nope.
Okay.
I'd prefer the guy that won me a Heisman than the guy who did.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our next pick. The next pick we have it will be number 4 to the Falcons, and that will be Jack. You have the luxury of giving the Atlanta Falcons their first pick of the 2021 draft. Who you got, my man?
All right. The Falcons defense, it's terrible. Get one of the best defensive players available. Caleb Farley, cornerback, Virginia Tech. I love this man. He is amazing. He can fit pretty much in any scheme, especially in that cover 3, cover 1 that the Falcons really like to run. He can play man. He can play that deep third zone. He's a very physical corner going up against some very, very talented wide receivers in the NFC South. I think he would just be a perfect fit into that system, and that's why I think they'll draft him.
Well, I probably think this is the earliest I've seen a DB get drafted in a lot of mock drafts. I want to know what you guys think. Starting with you, Ben.
In my opinion, I think the Falcons would be really smart to lock up that future franchise quarterback and grab Zach Wilson, especially if they like him in his interviews and whatever he does on his pro day. But, I mean, the Falcons do have a lot of secondary issues, and it's hard to argue with Farley. One crazy stat that I have on Farley is that in his 2019 season, he allowed 1 or fewer catches in 7 of his 11 starts. That's just kind of mind-blowing. So the guy's got all the athletic ability, all of the IQ. I think he'll be a really good corner in the NFL.
Ray, what do you think?
I like Caleb Farley. You know how I feel about cornerbacks, dude. I don't touch them till after pick 10. That's just how I do it.
Jacob?
I'm going to be honest. I kind of agree with what Ben's saying. I personally really think Trey Lance fits that system the best. Like, I think he is, like, the best team fit that you could have. But, hey, defense stinks. Get Caleb Farley. Be great. Why not?
All right. Well, let's get to our next pick, and that would be number 5. And Jack is back on the clock, back-to-back picks for this one. Jack, who you got, my man?
All right, so the Bengals almost killed Joe Burrow this year by not protecting him. We will not protect my king, my Lord and Savior as an LSU fan, Joe Burrow. Penei Sewell, offensive lineman, Oregon, draft him. Just put him up there. Draft 8 offensive linemen this year. Just start with the best one and then work your way down.
All right. Ray, what do you think about the pick, man?
I think it's a good, solid pick. I like that pick. I mean, I think Penei Sewell is probably, without Trevor Lawrence, he's the best player in the draft. So,
Jacob?
Yeah, it's the right pick to make. Don't let your franchise quarterback get hurt. That's simple.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
I'm on the same page as Ray. I think Penei Sewell is probably the second best overall player in the draft. And hopefully Penei Sewell can also spring Joe Mixon for a few runs because, I mean, he had a decent season this year, but it wasn't too great overall in terms of what he could be.
Definitely. So, real quick question before we get to our next pick. A lot of people are saying that the Bengals should draft, a wide receiver, specifically Chase, because, the LSU tie-in with the quarterback and receiver. I want to real quickly. I want to know what you guys think about that assessment because I do see a lot of mock drafts do have that. Start with Ben.
I think ultimately priority number 1 has to be to protect the quarterback. No matter who you have on the field at wideout, if the quarterback doesn't have enough time to throw the ball, then it doesn't really matter. So, I think Sewell's definitely the right pick here.
Jacob.
Yeah, pretty much. He already got hurt. It doesn't matter. He could have. The greatest show on turf, it doesn't matter if he can't have time to get rid of the ball. Stop letting him get hurt. Protect your investment.
Jack?
I kind of like to use the Lions of the kind of late 2000s as an example. You have Matthew Stafford. You have Calvin Johnson. Why did they not win more games? They could not protect Matthew Stafford. Man was constantly injured, constantly on the ground. It doesn't matter if you have weapons if you can't get them the ball. Protect the guy to get them the ball, then go get the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Ray, what do you think?
I agree with what the other guy said. And we've all been talking about the depth of wide receiver. Why would you go there when you were unable to protect your quarterback last year? It doesn't make any sense not to. So,
Definitely. All right, let's get to the next pick. This pick is close and near and dear to my heart. Is the Philadelphia Eagles. We actually fired Howard Roseman and we put Ray in his position. So Ray is now the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't mess this up more than Howard Roseman can. So Ray, who are you picking for the Philadelphia Eagles with the number 6?
I mean, you know that I'm not a Jalen Hurts fan. I actually thought about taking a cornerback or a tight end here, but I'm going to take Zach Wilson from BYU. I'm going to turn the page and get more. I think maybe next to Trevor Lawrence, probably the best passer of the quarterback left on the board. So,
all right, what you guys think? Start with Jack. What do you think about that pick, man?
It's a really good pick. It's a really smart idea. You're going to have 2 quarterbacks on a rookie deal, very cheap, and you can build around them. Kind of take that Carson Wentz cap hit next 2 years. Still have guys who are probably going to be developed and cheap at the same time. I think it's a really smart idea. You figure out which one's the best one out of the 2, and then you roll with it. Trade the other one.
I know my man Jacob is a fellow Eagles fan, so I want to hear from you. What do you think about this pick, man?
Man, I just talked myself into today that we're going to give Jalen Hurts like 2 years to prove it. So I don't know, man. I feel like you put investment into him. You might as well see what he got. And I'll put it like this. If we're drafting Wilson, then we have to get Hurts out of here because I'm not doing this again where you have these quarterback controversies and we're looked at like the laughingstock that doesn't know what they're doing. So I personally would just stick with Hurts.
Can I say something real quick, Jerome?
Yeah, right.
For one, your GM doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh, no, he doesn't. Yeah.
First and foremost. And 2, I can't worry about what the other guy did. I got to take my team and move forward. Jalen Hurts is a solid backup type quarterback. He's not a starter.
That's fair.
What do you think, Ben? Get the last say.
I mean, it's tough. It all depends on what the Eagles' evaluation of Hurts is. If they're going in Ray's camp where Hurts isn't a starter, then yeah, Wilson's definitely the great pick here. But in my opinion, I think you got to give Hurts at least another chance to see what he can do. And giving him a weapon, maybe a guy like Kyle Pitts, a guy like Jamar Chase, who's still on the board, would definitely help him and see what he can do in the future years.
Definitely. All right, cool. So let's get to our next pick. And the next pick will be up for Ben, actually. He has the Detroit Lions. He is on the clock. He already got his pick in. Ben, who you got, my man?
So, I mean, Detroit's another team that could potentially look to trade back in the draft, and I think free agency is going to have a major influence on what they do with this 7 pick. They got a ton of receivers leaving, but I'm kind of hoping that they're able to keep a couple of those guys. So we're going to be going with Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons here. He didn't play this previous season, but in 2019 he was by far the best off-ball linebacker in the entire college football. And I think that the Lions are really missing a ton on defense, and getting a guy like Parsons who can be a leader in that stagnant force in the middle of your defense will be a huge help for them.
All right. Well, I'm curious to what you guys think, because a lot of people think that the Lions could possibly get a receiver here. We got a really big receiver dropping right here. And they take a linebacker. Galladay might not be on the team. I want to know what you guys think about that. Starting with Jacob.
I think this is the right pick because the Lions were arguably the worst defense in the league. They can't stop the run or the pass. And in my opinion, you look at almost every great defense, they almost always have a great middle linebacker. You need the captain of the defense. So if you think Micah Parsons is that guy, then by all means, take him.
What do you think, Ray?
Agreed. I think that honestly, I see 3 elite caliber players. I know Parsons is a linebacker, and they don't really get drafted high anymore. But Lawrence, Sewell, Parsons, they're my 3 favorite players in this draft.
What do you think, Jake?
Just like Ben said, free agency is going to be a big determining factor as to what the Lions do here. Wide receiver definitely is an option, but they have a lot of picks coming up in the next couple of years that they can go take wide receivers with. I don't think there's going to be a linebacker like Parsons coming out in the draft anytime soon. Guy's kind of a unique talent, very, very well polished. There's a little off the field issue, but from what I've heard, it isn't really that serious. It was more of an academic problem than him doing anything stupid. So I think it's a really, really good pick. I think he can be the leader of that defense for a very long time.
All right, let's get to our next pick, and that will be the Carolina Panthers. We have the Carolina Panthers on the clock, and that will be Jacob on the clock. Jacob, what are you doing to the Carolina Panthers? Who you got, man?
I got him taking Trey Lance here. I think that the Panthers have a ton of talent on offense. They have some good receivers, obviously have an elite running back. They had a bunch of pieces last year on their defense. I think that Teddy Bridgewater is the perfect bridge quarterback, and you can really grow Trey Lance, who has some absolute insane potential. I keep saying if Trey Lance pans out, he's going to look like the creative player you make on Madden, where he can just throw far, have an insane arm, can make guys miss in the run, true dynamic quarterback. And I think that Trey Lance could be a guy that takes the Panthers and puts them over the top.
All right, what you guys think about the Panthers getting Trey Lance? Let's start off with Ben.
I think it's a great pick. I mean, Trey Lance I think he might be even moving up in my quarterback rankings past Zach Wilson. He seems like the kind of guy that's going to bring such a energy to the field that the Panthers haven't really seen in a long time at the quarterback position, at least since Cam Newton's MVP season. And I think he's really a guy that's going to be able to get Christian McCaffrey the ball a lot, and we know that Panthers offense really hums when that happens.
Okay. Ray, what do you think?
I like Trey Lance. He's actually my number 3 quarterback. I like him better than Justin Fields, really.
Really? Wow. Jack, sorry again for messing up your name earlier. What do you think about this pick, man?
I think this is honestly the perfect situation for Trey Lance. He gets to sit behind Teddy, learn for a year, figure out what the NFL really does. I mean, the kid's I think he's 21 barely. I mean, he's going to be young and still developing as a person and as a player. And so I think if he can sit a year and then after next year they cut Teddy, let Trey Lance do his thing, let him develop, I think that's a perfect situation. Honestly, the best situation for Carolina to be in, for him to fall to them.
Definitely. All right. And Ben, did you have your assessment? You said something? No.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So let's get to our next pick right here. And to follow up what the Facebook user said, I'm sorry we don't have your name on here right now, but he was talking about the Carolina's defense. I still think the Carolina defense is very young, so they're gonna have time to develop and things like that. So to answer your question, yeah, they should still add on to the defense, but they gotta start thinking about offense too, because they went entirely on defense last year. So they gotta rely on those defensive players to develop, and start grabbing some pieces on offense. That's just my opinion. So let's get to our next pick, number 9. And number 9 is the Denver Broncos, which will be represented by Jack. Jack, who you got for the Broncos here?
All right, to preface the pick, if the draft falls this way, this is the worst possible situation for the Lions to find themselves in. Trey Lance is off the board. Micah Parsons is off the board. And there are Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, and other wide receivers available when they just spent, I want to say, 3 picks last year and Noah Fant the first round the year before drafting weapons. So they can't really do it again. But my pick is Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback out of Alabama. He's a very talented guy. I think he's going to work really well in that Denver system. Vic Fangio is very, very, very high on a lot of cornerbacks. He likes to draft them high. He likes to put them in all different types of situations. And Surtain has played at Alabama, kind of in a similar style system. And he can also do everything that Fangio will want him to do, whether it blitz off the edge, play the nickel, play cover 2, pretty much play a cover 2 cloud, which is what they like to do, especially what he did in Chicago. Sorry, I couldn't think for a second. So I think it's a really good pick. I think it'll fit the system well.
All right, Ray, what do you think about the pick?
I love him. I love Patrick Surtain. Of course, his father was a Miami guy, so I'm gonna like him. I have him. I like him better than Farley.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of flip flop between those two with a lot of experts. Jacob, what do you think?
I like it. Yeah, I like pretty much the same reasons everyone said. I think this is not the best situation for them with so many wide receiver targets. I wonder if they possibly, if another team's looking to move up for a Chase or a Pitts here, but get yourself a corner. You can't really complain with that.
Yeah, like this Facebook user saying, Surtain and Simmons would be a good combination. Ben, about the pick.
I like the pick here. I mean, the Broncos just got rid of A.J. Bouye from what's already a pretty weak positional group for them. So Surtain could definitely be that guy that they build around for years to come in the secondary.
Definitely. And while we got you on, Ben, you are on the clock, and you currently have the Cowboys on the clock. So who you got for them right now?
So Jack just actually stole the guy I was hoping to get for the Cowboys with the Broncos at 9, but we're going to end up taking Rashawn Slater here. I mean, the Cowboys line, it's old, it's slow. It's not what it used to be from those early days of Ezekiel Elliott when everyone was praising them. And especially with Dak Prescott coming back from injury, number one priority has to be protecting the quarterback. So Slater has that positional versatility. He can play almost everywhere on the line, and he has some great tape against some top guys. So I think Slater's definitely a right pick here.
Facebook user caught what I just said. Ray, what do you think about the pick?
Love Rashawn Slater. I think he's a road grader. I think he'll help the run game to get what it was 2-3 years ago. A very good pick.
Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little upset because I was really targeting him, but I'm a really big Rashawn Slater fan. In my opinion, day one, he to me is as good as Penei Sewell is. I don't think he has the potential of Sewell, but he is technically just outstanding, man. He's got great hands. I'm a really big fan of him. Great. I hate the pick though. Like now we're gonna have to face him. Come on.
Yeah. What do you think, Jack?
I think it's a really good pick for the Cowboys. In my opinion, Slater can either play tackle or guard, and he's going to play both at a very high level. If you want me to prove it to you, just go watch the Chase Young game against Ohio State last year. That's the best game that you will watch an offensive tackle stop the number 2 overall pick. So he is very talented, very, very sound fundamentally. I think he'll just be a plug-and-play, instant, ready-to-go guy for the Cowboys.
Nice. All right, let's go to our next pick. Another NFC East rival for us is the Giants, and Ray, you are on the clock. Ray,
I have LSU wide receiver Jamar Chase. I think that at this spot, I think he's the best receiver in the draft this year. I think that to get him at 11 is a bargain.
Right, it's still the draft so far, I will say, and I will hate to see that matchup against my Eagles because I love Chase and I really wanted the Eagles to get the Chase. But Jacob, who do you think about him being in our division, man?
With our current corner situation, I don't like it at all. I don't like that one bit. I think it's exactly what Daniel Jones needs there. He's a guy that surprisingly likes to throw deep a lot, and I mean, it worked out well for them. And Jamar Chase is one of the best deep, like big play threats in all of college football. I mean, he still leads the NCAA in catches past 20 yards, despite not playing for a year. The last 2 years. So he's insane, man. Good pick.
Ben, what do you think about the pick, man?
I really like this pick. I mean, in my head right now, I'm just envisioning the Giants, handing it off to Saquon first, second down, and just unloading some massive play action on third down, and Chase is just wide open down the field. Like Jacob said, a lot of the NFC East corners, you got in Dallas, Washington, Philly, they're really weak. So hopefully for the Giants, if they get Chase, they'll be able to just exploit them all day long.
Definitely. All right, and Jack?
I love the pick. It's a perfect fit. They need a wide receiver. They need weapons. If they think Daniel Jones is the guy, at least give him some weapons to figure out if he really is.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick, and we got Jacob on the field, and he has the 49ers on the clock. Jacob, who you got?
So the 49ers have a big need going forward in their secondary. It's looking increasingly more likely that Richard Sherman's not coming back. Most of their guys are older. So I'm going to give them J.C. Horn here, South Carolina. I am a really big fan of Horn. I think he's just as good as the other corners, really physical, aggressive corner that can set the tone in the secondary. He's not going to be bullied by bigger receivers, and I think he would be perfect on that team.
Yeah, with the exit of Sherman, that could definitely be a fit for them. Jack, what do you think about this pick?
I think it's a really good pick. It goes for a need that they have. You can't really be too mad at him, and he fits their scheme, like Jacob said. I mean, a physical corner in San Francisco are two things that just kind of go hand in hand. So I love it.
Ben?
Yeah, I completely agree with what everyone said so far, and especially with all those top receivers you got in the NFC West right now, you're going to need a guy like J.C. Horn to be able to match up and just go pound for pound with them.
Definitely. Ray, what do you think?
I agree. I like J.C. Horn as much as almost any other cornerback. This kid is just he's a player, man. He just gets things done. If you watch South Carolina play this year, the kid's a stud.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick with back-to-back picks for Jacob. So you got the LA Chargers on the board. They got a slam dunk on their rookie of the year last year. How will they follow up this year?
I think that there should be only one position picked here. It has to be offensive line. You cannot let your franchise quarterback get hurt. And I'm going to give him Elijah Vera Tucker, I believe, tackle from USC. I think he can play both tackle and guard, which is good because they need both of them. Really good mover in space, really good technique, good in the run game and the pass game. Good finisher. I mean, I said it to Ben yesterday, he's as solid of a first-round lineman as you can get. He might not be the game changer potentially that Sewell is, but, he's a plug-and-play, immediate, very big improvement over what they have over there.
All right. Ben, what do you think about that pick?
I like it a lot. I mean, the Chargers, like Jacob said, they need to be able to protect the quarterback, and Vera Tucker's got tons of mobility. I think he's going to be a really nice fit in LA and be able to be a nice piece of Justin Herbert for quite some time.
All right, awesome. Ray?
I like your Tucker. It's a little early for me, but I think he's a good player.
Definitely. And Jack, what do you think?
I think it's a really good pick. I think he should play guard first in the NFL, maybe tackle, kind of do what the Saints did with Andres Pete, figure out which one he's better at, and then just leave him there. Don't touch him. Let him develop. Let him become the player that he's going to be. I like what Jacob said. He's solid. He's not crazy. It's not a flashy pick. It is a solid pick. I like it.
Definitely. All right, and to stay on the board with you, Jake, you are now on the clock. You got the Vikings on the clock, and we just to let you guys know, we're like showing our picks before they actually come in. Like we're actually like giving in the card, so we all know what this pick is gonna be. And I can't believe this guy slid. So I'm gonna allow Jack to announce this pick.
Yes, with the 14th overall pick, 31 minutes into our live stream, almost 32 minutes. Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida, weapon, Florida, whatever you want to call him. He's a fantastic player. He is a weapon. He can play wide receiver. He can play tight end. He can play whatever. The Vikings love to run 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends, run the football. Him and Irv Smith next to each other, going to be a great combo. You could split him out wide, play him in the slot, put him wherever. Okay, you have very smart offensive coaches in Minnesota, and you have a head coach that's letting the offense just do whatever they want to do. He's perfect. Any team would love to have this guy, and the fact that he's at 14 kind of surprised me, just as everybody else. So great pick.
Definitely. So I have to say, they got Irv Smith. They still got Rudolph in the field. Now you got a third tight end. Yes, I know you can't fit him at wide receiver, but Jacob, how you feel about him being on this team and adding to that tight end group?
Yeah, don't not take elite players because you have good players. Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, is the best non-quarterback in this draft. Insane athlete for how big he is at like 6'6". I think he's a wide receiver, to be honest. I think that, and most teams in the NFL are starting to view him that way too. Overall, he's just a weapon, and those are three dangerous guys you got to cover there in Minnesota. And you got to worry about Dalvin Cook in the run game. Come on.
Ray, what do you think about the pick?
Love the kid. I think that he has versatility. Both of the tight ends they have now are all three of them are good blockers too. You do a lot of different things with them formations. I love the pick. I was getting ready for them with New England next, so
I was gonna say that. But go ahead, Ben.
I think if the Vikings are able to get Pitts off the board here, it makes them one of the best offenses in the NFL on paper. And like Jacob's been saying to me for a long, long time, this guy can play anywhere on the field, outside, inside. He's going to be one of the best pass catchers in the league in a couple of years, and I think it's a really solid pick for the Vikings if he lasts this long.
Definitely. All right, we're going to get to our next pick, and we just kind of alluded to it. Ray, you're on the clock with the Patriots. And you're probably a little scrambled right now because, Kyle Pitts was there, almost there in one pick before you. So who are you going to pick for the New England Patriots at 15?
This is going to be a New England-type player, I think. I'm taking your guy from Michigan, Kwity Paye.
Ooh, I like that.
Hey,
I like that.
Why Kwity Paye there, Ray?
Like I said, New England likes versatile guys, the guys that can do, like, play on either side of the line. Probably move him inside on third down, so let him rush the quarterback. Very versatile, very good player. I think the guys on Michigan were a little underrated this year because they really struggled at times. So,
yeah, New England been picking our Michigan players a lot the last couple of drafts too. So I don't know, they're doing some deep scouting over there for some reason.
Say a little pipeline going on.
Yeah, I see that. Ben, what do you think about that pick?
As a Patriots fan, I really love this pick. I mean, I've had so many years in the past where Bill Belichick decides to take an offensive weapon in the first round and they just turn out to be duds. I mean, most recently, of course, N'Keal Harry, he just hasn't been anything. So I'm really happy Ray went with defense here, and that Michigan connection I think is going to serve him really well. Paye is explosive off the line. He's good against the pass and the run, so I really like this pick.
All right, and Jack, we think.
I think it's a really good pick. Bill Belichick with developmental pass rushers. It's worked out a lot in the past. Kwity Paye's got a lot of development to do, but he is 10 times all the physical attributes that any of the other players have had that they've drafted. So I think it's a really good pick, and he's going to be a free agent in 5 years that someone will overpay.
All right, and Jacob?
I think that Kwity Paye is such a robot in the run game, so technically good. That shows me that he is very coachable. So he has all the traits and the physical attributes in the world to be a really good pass rusher someday in the future. I really like him. I think he can be some team's Brandon Graham, where he's just like the unsung hero of a team's defense.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick now, and we're going to go to the Cardinals. The Cardinals are now on the clock. Ben has the pick on this one. So, Ben, who you got the Cardinals picking?
With the top 3 corners already off the board, I was really lost for a little while trying to figure out who the Cardinals were going to take off the board here. But ultimately, we're going to go with Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. The defense definitely needs more help than the offense does in Arizona, but with a guy like Jalen Waddle still on the board here, I think the opportunity to pair him with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray is too good to pass up. He's a dynamic playmaker. He's got all the routes in his tree. He's a guy that I think can make huge impacts from day one on the field for the Cardinals.
Jalen Waddle, DeAndre Hopkins, and if I'm Larry Fitzgerald, I might want to play one more year after if I see that. I mean, I might be a slot receiver at that point. But what do you guys think about that? I'm gonna start with Jack. What do you think about that pick there?
I love the pick. You get Kyler Murray, another weapon. That offense needs to put up points. They didn't put up points. They were very inconsistent last year. Give them a guy that can just turn a 5-yard slant into a 50-yard touchdown. You can't be mad about that. More weapons, the better. Also, you forgot about Christian Kirk. Don't doubt my guy from A&M. Love that guy. That's just a disgustingly talented offense, and if they can put it all together, I think it's going to be dominant in the NFC West this year.
Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Waddle should not be picked at 16. He is too talented to be here this long. Like, for the Cardinals to take him here, pair him with Nuke, I mean, come on. That's just – it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Come on.
Ray, what do you think?
Good pick. I love the kid. Explosive playmaker. I mean, everybody knows. So, like Jacob said, way too long for this kid to be on the board, really.
Yeah.
I actually thought about taking him for New England, but New England tends to like defensive players over offensive players usually. So.
Well, we're going to our next pick. We got the LA Rams on the board, and that will be run by Jacob. So, Jacob, you're on the clock, man.
Just the Rams here?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Las Vegas.
I think it's the Raiders.
I thought it was Vegas.
Oh,
It's the Raiders here.
I botched that. My fault.
Listen, it would have been the same pick. It would have been the same pick anyway. All right, like I was gonna pick the same guy while Jay's fixing that. I'm just gonna preface this pick by saying I am not a doctor. So take headlines. Jacob Keppen, not a doctor. So I cannot say whether or not this guy is going to be held back by his medicals or not. What I can tell you is that doctors have cleared him, and he has played all year and had no problems, and he dominated. Jalen Phillips is the pick. Jalen Phillips is the best pass rusher in this class. I think he's the best defensive player in this class. Crazy athleticism, crazy explosiveness, crazy bend for his size. I mean, the man lives in the backfield. The Raiders have not been able to rush the passer since Khalil Mack was traded away. So I think Jalen Phillips is the pick to make here. There's some other guys that can go here, but as long as doctors clear him, take the man. Let him be great.
Ben, what do you think about that pick?
I like this pick. I think no matter what, the Raiders kind of have to go on the edge here. Like Jacob was saying, they had one of the worst pass rushes in the league last year. And I think it all just depends on who their top guys are. If it's Jalen Phillips, so be it. If it's another guy, I think they got to jump on him here.
Ray?
Love the pick. Jalen Phillips is a good athlete. Do have some injury concerns, issues going on with him, but if he can stay healthy, he's an impact player, and the Raiders need, like we've all said, they need edge rushers. So,
all right, and Jack?
All I'm going to say is this is the most Al Davis type pick of all time. You draft the kid who was the #1 high school recruit,
Yep.
and he's ginormous and like a freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
It's Al Davis written all over it, so it fits with the Raiders. It's perfect.
All right, let's get right to our next one. This is another pick of race team. So let's see what he feels about this pick. So my man Ben is in with the pick. Who you got going to the Miami Dolphins?
With the Dolphins getting Devonta Smith early in the first round, we're going to give Brian Flores an explosive, versatile weapon that he can utilize on defense, and we're going to be grabbing Notre Dame linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. One of the best names in the draft, I got to say, first of all. But, I mean, from all the time that he's been at Notre Dame, he's been an absolute game changer. He really serves that rover role in the middle of the defense. I was saying earlier today that no matter where the play ends up, it always seems like he's within 1 or 2 yards of the ball there to finish the play. He's got great coverage abilities. He's able to attack the passer. I think he's going to be a really nice fit for Flores and be a great piece for the Miami Dolphins for years to come.
JOK. Ray, what do you feel about that, being a Miami Dolphins fan and a Notre Dame fan? You got the guy on both of your favorite teams going to another one of your favorite teams. What do you think about this pick, Ray?
He went from the best college football jersey to the best NFL football jersey.
Oh.
No, like he said, the kid's versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. He can cover slot receivers. He can come out and play the run. He can get to the quarterback. He's as versatile as maybe anybody in the draft, to be honest with you.
Jacob, I'm very curious what you think about this, because I've seen on your Twitter, and we'll get into your Twitter plug later on, but I see on your Twitter that you would love to see him at safety. What do you think about him going to Miami? Would you still put him at linebacker, or would you throw him at safety for Miami?
So I look at Miami, and there's so many roles that he could play. I mean, he could be an outside linebacker that drops back into coverage when needed, that just plays the run. He could rush the passer almost in, like, he's not as big as Van Noy, but almost that type of role. Again, use him every single way you can to keep him on the field. You know what I mean? Whether it's as a box safety, whether it's as a regular linebacker where you're putting him at will linebacker, just keep this man on the field. And one of the best defenses is getting even better with this one. I love this pick.
Definitely. All right, cool. So
No.
I'm sorry we lost Jack for a minute. I believe he got a power outage. So we're going to try to get his picks in as we go. But Ben, what do you think about that pick, man?
The Owusu-Koramoah pick?
Right? Oh, that was your pick. Yeah.
That was my pick.
I hope you liked it.
I stand by it. I think I'll stick with him.
Hey, cool. So let's get to our next pick. That would be Ray. You are on a clock, and you got the Washington football team. So the football team is on the clock. Apparently, I think they're going to still be having that name for 2021, and I think 2022 they're going to do the name change, which is kind of weird. But who you got for your pick?
I got Christian Darrisaw, offensive lineman from Virginia Tech. Versatile. Washington needs to upgrade the offensive line. They have a bunch of old guys there right now. I think he's versatile to play both tackle spots and to play some guard. I think he's probably the best selection for them. I wish they would pick a name, but besides for that, I think he's going to be a good player for him. I think he fits what they need. So.
All right, sorry. I didn't hear the name. What was that again? I'm sorry, Ray.
Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech.
Gotcha. Awesome. Nice. So, Jacob, what do you think about that pick?
I like it. Yeah. I think I don't want them to reach on a quarterback here. I think there's nothing. I don't think there's anything ever wrong with taking more linemen. You know.
Never really.
If I could have just a bunch of linemen out there, I would. But I like the pick. I think he's got high upside to him and a pretty decent floor to him. Yeah, it's a good pick.
All right, Ben, what you got?
I don't mind the pick. I mean, I know what a lot of people are saying about reaching for a quarterback. Personally, I do like Mac Jones a lot. I think he is a first-round quarterback. And who really knows how long Alex Smith is going to be still playing in the NFL? and he played decently this past season, but he is starting to get up there in age. I think personally, if I were taken for the football team here, I would have selected Mac Jones to secure a quarterback for the future. But I think driving offensive line, like Jacob said, never a bad idea. Always good to get protection.
Definitely. All right, cool. All right, let's get to our next pick. We got the Bears on the clock. So, like I said, Jack is out. He had power outage, so I'll be picking for him. He's messaging me in the chat room right now. So he says Tevin Jenkins for the Bears. So that's the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. Ben, what do you think about that pick?
I think the Bears, really good idea to go offensive tackle here. And again, I think free agency is going to play a huge part into what they do in the draft. They got guys like Allen Robinson who could potentially be leaving. Who knows what the future for Mitch Trubisky is. So depending on what happens in the free agency, they might need to go wide receiver. But I think getting O-line, again, always a good idea for a team that has a decently young offense.
All right, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, what was I saying before the draft started that I saw some praise for Tevin Jenkins? I really, really like Tevin Jenkins. I think he has some absolute violence. He looks to put people into the ground. Good right tackle. What do they have? Bobby Massey there, I'm pretty sure. I wonder if they start him at guard first, but either way, I think he's a good pick here.
And Ray, what do you think?
I like him. I think he's a good player. A little early for me, but I think he's a good player.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next pick. We got the Indianapolis Colts on the board. They just got a new quarterback. Ben, you have the opportunity to help get Carson with some weapons if you like. Who are you going to pick right here for the Colts?
We're going to go in the opposite direction, and we're going to go on defense and help out that awful Indianapolis Colts edge rushing, and we're going to take Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. And the Colts were, like I said, terrible rushing the passer last year, and their two most productive players at the position, Justin Houston and Danico Autry, might leave in free agency. But regardless of what happens with them, I think they got to pick up an edge rusher here. For me, Ojulari has the potential to, I think, by the end of his career, be the best edge rusher out of this class. He's incredibly twitchy. He doesn't have standout strength or power, but he's so quick and he's able to get around offensive linemen. And I think with time and coaching, he'll have a ton of moves at his disposal and be a monster in the NFL.
Ray, what do you think, man?
Good, versatile athlete. Like him. Again, a little early for me, but I like the kid. So,
what do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, really has sky-high potential as a pass rusher, good bend to him, deceptively good hands for, a speedier guy. I'm a big fan. If he were to be like the top defensive end taken in this draft, I wouldn't mind it at all with how big his upside is as pass rusher.
Awesome. All right, let's get to our next pick. And Ray, you are on the clock with the Tennessee Titans. Who you got right there, Ray?
I'm going to take Gregory Rizzo from Miami. I think the kid is a stud, man. I think that, honestly, he's probably my favorite edge player in this draft. I think I know he didn't play last year. The year before, he was crazy. I mean, honestly, I think that if he'd have came back and was productive this year as it was in 2019, he'd be a top 5 pick.
What do you think, Jacob?
Tennessee needs an edge rusher. Yeah, Tennessee needs an edge rusher. I agree with that. If Russo came back and had a productive year, I'd be higher than I am on him. I think he's developmental. There's a lot of development to be had with him, but he's big, he's long, productive, is athletic. So there's definitely tools to work with, and I'd be definitely more all right with a team taking him later in the first round than, say, like top 5. So I don't love it, but I'm not going to hate on it either.
All right, awesome. And Ben, what do you think about that pick?
And I agree with a lot of things that Jacob said. He's not necessarily my favorite DN prospect. I think there's a couple guys, maybe like Joseph Osai out of Texas, that I would have liked more to be taken in this scenario. But I think Rousseau has a ton of potential, and if he's anything like he was at Miami in 2019, he'll be a special player. But we'll have to wait to see what happens when he hits the field.
Awesome. All right, let's get to our next pick. Our next pick will be the Jets and our our residents Jets fan, Mr. Juan Camargo, he would probably love this pick. Jack selected Rashad Batman from Minnesota, sorry, as the receiver for the Jets, giving them another weapon. I want to know what you guys think, starting with you, Ray. What do you think about that pick?
Love Rashad Bateman. It's a little earlier than I would have taken him. I probably would have taken him close to the end of the first round. But I'm not going to hate on this kid. I think he's a very good player. So,
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you get Justin Fields, a nice shiny new deep weapon to throw the ball to in his rookie year. Bateman could have a lot of success in his first year. He's such a big, deep target potential, big guy, a lot of speed, a lot of catching ability.
All right, and Jacob?
I'm going to say the same thing I said about Justin Jefferson last year, that when everyone talks about what's his elite trait, his elite trait is being good at football. He's just good at football. There's not anything that really stands out. He's not going to run a 4.3. He's not 6'3". But what he does is he runs solid routes. He has good releases. He gets open. He makes catches, makes contested catches. He just does everything really well. So it's almost like that, kind of what Jefferson was, like what Michael Thomas was, where they just do everything really good and just are a really good, reliable weapon for the quarterback, which is big for Justin Fields moving forward.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next team. We got the Steelers, and Jacob, you are back on the clock. Who you got for the Steelers right here? There's a lot of on the board. What you got?
This is where it gets really tough here because there's a bunch of different ways that I think the Steelers can go. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Dylan Radunes from North Dakota State, the offensive tackle. I think that it looks increasingly more likely that Big Ben is going to be back. And I don't know how to feel about that, but they didn't give him the proper protection later on in the year. It looks like Villanueva is going to be gone. And I think Dylan Radunes looked great at North Dakota State, looked great at the Senior Bowl. To me, has good size. To me, what more can you ask for in a first-round tackle? And he's a tough, hard-nosed type of player. Sounds like a Steelers guy to me.
All right, Ben, what do you think about that pick?
I like the pick. I mean, like Jacob was saying, if Roethlisberger's coming back, you definitely got to be able to protect him. Guys, at this point, he's almost like a glass bottle. He's going to break if you touch him. He's got so many injuries. But, I mean, I think I personally would have liked to see a guy like Alex Leatherwood go here, and that's solely based on a culture kind of fit. Leatherwood's got a smash mouth kind of personality, but Radune's been impressive all throughout his time at North Dakota. Like Jacob said, really good at the Senior Bowl against top competition. And I think that's really what was holding him back before from being considered in the first round. But now that we've seen that, he's definitely got the potential to go there.
And Ray, what do you think about that pick, Ray?
I like him. He's a versatile type player. A little early for me, but I think he's a good player.
All right, awesome. All right, let's get to our next pick, and we got Ben on the clock. He got the player in the board now. So who you got, Ben?
We're going to be addressing the secondary for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're going to be taking the first safety off the board, and that's going to be TCU's Trayvon Maury. He was one of the best defensive backs in all of college football over the past couple of years. 26 combined interceptions and pass breakups since 2019. That's 6 more than any other FBS safety in that span. He's got a lot of size, a lot of length, a lot of strength. He's really good against the ball, and I think the Jaguars can really use that kind of guy that's going to be a cleanup man, somewhat in the mold of like a Derwin James. They definitely need to address cornerback too, but I think at this point, going best player available in the secondary is the right pick.
Ray, what do you think?
I like Murray. I think he's a versatile player. He can play some in-the-box safety, can cover some. Very versatile player. I don't really like taking safeties this high, but, I mean, it is what it is, He's a good player.
5th pick, Ray?
What's that?
It's 25th. It's not that high.
Okay.
Ray hates DBs. I'm just
You may have hit on something there, buddy, okay?
Jacob, who you got? I mean, what do you think about it? I'm sorry.
I don't hate it. I have a couple of guys that I have above Marek there, but I get your reasoning behind the pick. I don't hate it at all. But there's a couple guys I like better. But that's just me personally. I don't have a problem with a team in the late first round taking a safety. I personally think safeties are very, very, very valuable, and a great safety could be the backbone of your defense next to your middle linebacker.
Definitely. All right, awesome. Now our next pick is from Jack again. He's away, so I have to pick the pick in for him. He's picking Belmore, the nose tackle from Alabama. Jacob, what do you think about that pick for the Browns?
So I think they have good edge rushers, especially in Myles Garrett, and they could use another interior rusher. I think Barmore has the most potential out of all the defensive tackles, unless Marvin Wilson gets back to being 2019 Marvin Wilson. I don't hate the situation at all because he didn't start really for Bama, so he's a bit more developmental. But who better to put him next to than Myles Garrett? I mean,
it's a big boy. What do you think,
Talking to me?
Ben?
Oh, sorry. Personally, I think that the Browns have a much bigger need at linebacker, and with a guy like Zaven Collins still on the board, I think I would have preferred him being taken here. But Barmore, like Jacob was saying, he's got probably the most potential out of any of the interior D-line prospects in the draft this year. And, I mean, we saw what he did in the national championship game. He was an absolute game wrecker. So if the Browns compare him and Garrett well together, then they're going to be causing a lot of issues for the other teams in the AFC North.
All right, and Brad, what do you think about that pick?
I like Barmore. He's probably like my favorite interior defensive lineman in this year's draft. Good football player. I mean, I worry because he had one big year at Alabama, but I mean, he's a good player. So,
All right, awesome. So let's get to our next pick, and that will be the Baltimore Ravens. They are on the clock. Ben, this is your pick. I'm sorry, Jacob, this is your pick. So, Jacob, who you're going to pick right here for the Ravens?
I feel bad for the Ravens because Rashad Bateman would be such a good pick here. When I look at, I think they need a reliable target for Lamar Jackson, and I actually think that would be tight end Pat Freiermuth from Penn State here. They love employing a lot of tight ends in their system, and I think Freiermuth has very sure hands, maybe the most sure hands in the entire class, regardless of position, besides Kyle Pitts, but we're not even going to include him in talks. Big physical guy, makes contested catches, moves pretty well despite being a big traditional tight end. I don't know if he's quite going to live up to his nickname, Baby Gronk, but hey, if he can at least be 85% of what Gronkowski was, I think he's going to make Lamar Jackson's life a lot better in Baltimore.
I have to put this comment out there. Jack, I'm communicating with Jack with the picks. He said that Mark Andrews died or something.
Nah, man. Listen, man. They already employ 2-3 tight ends sets out there. I like him better than the receiving option that's there for Baltimore because I think there's a bunch of deep threats and stuff like that and slot guys. I think they need someone with some sure hands who has a big catch radius and is really going to help out Lamar. Stop giving him fast guys that can run downfield and have spotty hands. Get him another big body target.
Ray, what do you think about that pick?
I like Freiermuth. I mean, I like him. I think he's a very good football player. I think that him and the tight end there will go good together. They can play a lot of 12 personnel. They did last year, and they didn't have anywhere near as good as Freiermuth. So I think Mark Andrews and him work well together. Like Jacob said, I think ideally if there was a stud wide receiver here, you might have went there. But I think going Freiermuth with Mark Andrews actually is a very nice pick. So
nice, awesome. All right, let's get to our next pick. We got the New Orleans Saints, and that will be run by Ray. You're on the clock. Who's going to go to the New Orleans Saints?
You know what? I'm going to take Mac Jones here, man.
There you go.
I'm going to fortify the New Orleans quarterback position for the next 10 years, hopefully.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I think most people was like, "Hey, where's Mac Jones? He's falling in the draft." Him going to 28 to the Saints, I don't think that would be a perfect spot with Drew Brees leaving out of there. I want to hear what you guys think. I'm start with Ben. What do you think about that pick?
I really like the pick. I don't think he's going to be on the board still for the Saints at 28. So I think eventually they are going to have to go defense. But if he's there, I think they absolutely have to grab him. You know, he fits their system really well. He's got a great arm. He's able to throw to both sides of the field and down the field. He's going to fit really well with those weapons they have on the Saints.
Jacob, what do you think?
I have a lot of questions about Mac Jones. I see what Jack's saying in the comments. He said why. I kind of like it though. If anybody can make him work, it would be Sean Payton. If anyone can make him work, it's going to be Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think this is a big shocker to most people. Ben, did you get your take on this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, awesome. I'm losing track of the picks. So
yeah, man. Devonta Smith says he's a better player than Tua. So what can I do?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Did he say he was a better player or he liked him more?
I think he
said he got the ball to him in better positions. Exactly what he said.
Wow, I didn't even hear that part. All right, let's get to our next pick. We got the Packers on the board. A lot of people was mad about the Packers not going out and get a receiver or another weapon for Aaron. I'm about to say Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers. Jacob, you're on a clock. Are you going to give them a weapon, or you're going to go a different direction here?
No, they can get that in round 2. They can get it in round 3, and I have a perfect player for them to get in round 2. But right now, I'm going to give him Jalen Mayfield, the right tackle out of Michigan. I think he's got big-time potential. He only played like 2 games this past year, but looked phenomenal in those 2 games. You know, he put about a season's worth of defensive ends into the dirt in those 2 games. The Packers, they have their franchise tackle in Bakhtiari, who I think is the best in the league, but they have a real big problem at right tackle. It showed in that game against the Buccaneers. And Mayfield, I don't know if he's going to be able to start right away. If he is, maybe put him at guard. But I think Mayfield's got some big-time potential, and you're going to keep Aaron Rodgers and maybe his successor safe for the next foreseeable future, next 10 years.
Ben, what do you think about that pick?
I don't mind it. I mean, personally, I don't think Jalen Mayfield should be going in the first round. But like Jacob said, he is a developmental kind of guy. I know it hurts you as a Michigan. I know what I'm doing to you, Jerome. I know what I'm doing. But, I mean, I do think protection is going to be very vital for the Packers in the next coming years. And Mayfield, if that's their guy, then go ahead and grab him.
Ray, what do you think about the pick?
Like him a lot. Think it's a good, solid pick. You need to protect the quarterback, so it's a good pick.
Definitely. All right, we got the next pick is in, and that will be the Buffalo Bills. Ben, you are on the clock. Who are you taking right here?
This is a tough one because the Bills have one of the more complete rosters in the NFL, and they have a bunch of little tiny holes that they can fill that's going to really push them to that contender status. I really thought about for a long time going with Naja Harris here, but we're going to end up going to defense and taking Zaven Collins. I mean, the guy is really a complete linebacker, and I'm surprised that he's fallen this far in our mock draft. He can move around the field. He's great in pass coverage, and he really excels when rushing the passer as well. And I think it's just going to put that Buffalo defense up to the next tier and let them contend for a Super Bowl next year.
Definitely. Jacob, what do you think about that pick?
I would have went Harris here, but I really do like Zaven Collins enough to the point where I could say, all right, this is not a bad pick at all, especially with Milano's future kind of uncertain with a lot of talent on that defense. You can't pay everybody, especially with Tremaine Edmonds looking like a future not a future, he looks like a star already, but looking like the centerpiece of that defense moving forward. I think Zaven Collins is a very versatile guy that can do really well there. Good first round pick. Yeah. So it's upsetting. It's upsetting, but running back. Yeah.
That is true. There is a chance that running back might fall a little bit lower, but you never know. We might get a running back in the next 2 picks. But let's talk about our next pick. That'll be Ray. You are on the clock with the Chiefs. Who are you picking right there, sir?
I'm taking Wyatt Davis from Iowa State, man. I'm going to take a road grading lineman. and I'm going to solidify and help out Kansas City's offensive line, who kind of struggled down the stretch this year a little bit.
Good pick.
Man, what do you think about that pick?
I really like it. In my opinion, at this point in the draft, it's pretty much a no-brainer for me. Outside of Vera Tucker, I think Wyatt Davis is, and if you're including Rashawn Slater, but I'm not including him in this conversation, I think Wyatt Davis is probably the second best interior offensive lineman in the draft. He's really going to be able to help out Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the run game as he continues to develop and just offer up more protection for Mahomes.
Awesome. And Ray, Jacob, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, great pick. They struggled to run the ball a lot, especially down the stretch. And you look at championship teams need to be able to run the ball. That doesn't necessarily mean having a great running back, but you need to be able to close out games. And I don't know if they had the line, especially with the injuries and opt-outs. I think Wyatt Davis is an immediate plug-and-play starter. Really, really good player. I'm a huge fan of this. But I think this is one of those – there's a couple obvious picks in this draft, and this is one of them if he's there.
Definitely. And speaking of great teams needing running backs, we got the Bucks on the
Wow.
You listen to Jack. Jack just gave us his pick, and he's giving us a huge bomb at the end of the draft, which will be Naja Harris going to the Buccaneers. The rich get richer. I'm gonna start with Ray. When you think about that pick, I know Ray was probably like, I hope he falls to the Dolphins in the second round. This actually happens. What do you think about this pick, him going to the Buccaneers after having Rojo have a really good year?
I'm a big fan of Naja Harris. I think anywhere from number 25 on, he's a steal. I mean, I would have taken him like he said, Zach said before, I would have taken him Jacob said before, I would have taken him at Buffalo. But, I mean, I understand, taking the other guy. I just think that Naja Harris right now is the best running back in this class. He's a plug-and-play kid. He can play all three downs. And I know a lot of people I don't like drafting running backs too early, but to me, if I can get a running back in the first round and sign to a 5-year contract, man, and then move on from him after that and not pay him that second contract, I'm a fan of that.
Definitely. Facebook user, we're going to get to that other question in a second, right after we talk about, the Naja Harris pick. But, Jacob, do you want to address this one? What happened to Lombardi Lenny? I hate that nickname, but
what a shame. What a shame, man. I just threw him he just threw Leonard Fournette in the trash. What a shame. But I agree 100% with what Ray said. I am never paying a running back top dollar, but if there's elite running backs there, I'll keep taking them in the first round, using them in 5 years, and then moving on to another one. Naja Harris would have been my running back 2 last year, and that's only because I thought Jonathan Taylor was absolutely can't miss and special. I think Naja Harris entered himself into that territory this year. I mean, he looked like the best pure rusher in the class. He looks like he has an argument for like a top 5 pass catcher in the class, despite being like 225, 30. He's a big power back that has finesse and can catch passes. I mean, it's a no-brainer here. I don't know about the team fit, but he's good enough to where it's like Edwards-Helaire last year. It was like, all right, maybe they know something I don't. They just won the Super Bowl. I can't criticize them that much.
All right, Ben, what do you think about the pick?
Jerome, you kind of stole the words right out of my mouth. The rich get richer with this one. And getting Naja Harris, who in my opinion is probably a top 15, at the worst, top 20 player in the entire draft class. He's definitely my RB1. And as long as Tom Brady's there, who knows how long he has. He might play until he's 80 years old. Who knows? But you got to continue to capitalize on what you have with Brady as long as you can. And I think Harris is a great step to doing that.
Definitely. All right. Before we move on to my next question, let's get to the Facebook users question from before. Are you considering releasing LDT? I never know how to say his name, so I'll just call him LDT. He's on the Chiefs as an offensive lineman. Ray, you put up the draft pick of them drafting an offensive lineman. So would you release him?
I would release him. Absolutely.
How come?
I would. He doesn't fit what I do on offense right now, so I'm going to get rid of him. You know,
Ben, do you?
God.
I would pretty much agree with what a lot of Ray said. If you can get a guy like Wyatt Davis, who's a much more of a scheme fit, then I think you got to roll with him and just get rid of that contract.
And Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, there's nothing really more to add to that. You know, you're at a more of a scheme fit. You're getting younger. You're getting cheaper. That if you can find a way to, I mean, if he wants to restructure or whatever and be like a cheaper backup, that's one thing. But yeah, no, if he wants to hit the it might be time for him to just be a doctor. You know,
Yeah.
he's definitely got a career in that once he leaves football, which is great for him if he can't find other work outside of Kansas City. But yeah, I think it's that his time in Kansas City is coming to an end if they make this pick.
Definitely. Awesome. So we're at the end of the draft, and before we get off, I want to always ask about the best available players are out now, who's left, and do you think they should have been in the first round? So I'm going to name a couple of names real quick that we didn't hear go in the first round, and maybe give me a guy that you surprised that didn't get drafted. So we got Chaz Surratt, we got Jabril Cox, we got Liam Eastenberg, we got Leatherwood, Kadarius Toney, who else? Michael Carter, Nico Collins, Quincy Roche, Richie Grant, Samuel Cosme, Travis Etienne, and I think that's pretty much the main people that's like on that fringe. So any of those guys I just rattled off do you think should have been in the first round? Ben, anybody surprise you that they didn't get drafted? Or they didn't even read off somebody else that you're surprised didn't go in the first round?
One name that really stuck out to me in that list you just read was Samuel Cosme out of Texas. I think he's probably one of the biggest upside offensive linemen, especially, and he plays the tackle position too, which is ever valuable in the NFL. He's athletic. He can move real well. He's got great against the run, and he can protect in the pass. I don't know if really that he fit a lot of the team schemes that were in the first round and with some of the picks that we made, but he's a guy that I think definitely has first-round talent. And I just saw that comment come in on Ifeatu Melifonwu. He's one of my favorite corners in this draft, really physical. I think Cleveland is a team that could suit him really well, so he's another guy that I might think could go.
Definitely. Ray, anybody stick out to you that didn't go in the first round?
I mean, I'm a big Nick Bolton fan from Missouri. It's not that I think that should have definitely been a first round talent. I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have been taken in the first round. I wouldn't have been surprised if someone would have jumped on Rondell Moore at the end of the first round. I'm a big fan of him, especially because he can help you so much in the return game. I'm just looking at some guys. I agree with him. I think that Cosme I thought maybe he would go from like 20 to 25 maybe as an offensive tackle. I like Cosme a lot. I think the only thing about Cosme is he is more of a developmental type of guy. I think he needs to go a little bigger, a little bit stronger. But once he does that, I think he's been a really good player. So
definitely. Facebook users say also Andre Crisco. So listening to the comments, I'm pretty sure I know who this is. So if this is you, I know who you are. I'm pretty sure why you chose some of those players. But Jacob, is there any other first round picks that you thought should have been in first round?
So I feel like almost everyone you named there was rightfully a day two guy because a lot of them are either not standout talents in their positions versus other guys that were drafted, or they're more developmental. Besides Richie Grant, I'd be fine with taking Richie Grant in the first round. He either him or Darius Washington's my safety one. I agree on Nick Bolton. He's a guy that I could definitely see going first round. And if he didn't get hurt, I think that Landon Dickerson from Alabama could have been a first round pick because he has all the talent in the world, but he got hurt again. But some team's going to get a steal with him in the second round. But a lot of talented guys, you said. This draft is day 2 is going to be crazy. There is some serious talent on day 2, and you can get some absolute crazy talented guys in round 2. I'm excited for it.
Definitely. I think this was a great draft by you guys, and we're gonna wrap it up here. So thank you everybody for coming in and checking it out. If you missed it, it will be on YouTube, so you can go back and check it out if you didn't see the entire thing. And while you're at YouTube, please go down and subscribe and like and everything like that. All that good YouTube stuff. We love that, and please try to get that to grow and help us out as well. But we're going to try to do this once a month. I think this is really cool, and it was really fun to do this. Unfortunately, Jack power went off, so he wasn't able to stay with us. But I think we had a good time, guys. You guys had a good time with this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great time.
So we're going to try to do this at least once a month for you guys, for your guys' entertainment. Thank you, Facebook user, for the claps, and give a clap to all of us, because this was definitely fun. And we're gonna like I said, we're gonna try to do this every month into the draft. So make sure you check us out. We're gonna try to do it every 4th week, so the last week of the month, obviously. So please check us out. We're gonna try to do this and have fun with it. But also, please go and check out all our other stuff as well. So if you're not already checking us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, please check that out, because a lot of players that we talk about are on there. So we have the player interviews on there. Jared Patterson was mentioned today. He was one of the guys that we interviewed. So please go check that out at Inside the Hatches. Search Inside the Hatches. Also, check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of great content. Ben have his draft analysis on there, and we have a whole bunch of other things as far as gaming, other player interviews. Our live podcasts are all posted on YouTube, so please make sure you go and check that out. Also, check out all our social media accounts. We got we on Facebook, we on TikTok, we on Instagram, we on Twitter. Just search Inside the Hatches, Inside Hatches for Twitter. Before we get off, I want you guys to give you your plugs for your Twitter account. So I'm start off with Ben. What is your Twitter account for that?
Make sure to follow ITH Ben Schwartz. ITH Ben Schwartz.
All right, Jacob.
All right, make sure to follow at Jacob Keppen, at Jacob, then KEPPEN, or better known as Inside the Draft. I'm in there all the time, tweeting, always interacting with people. Soon I'm going to tweet more than the company. It's going to be fun times.
Awesome. And these two guys are definitely advocate Twitter guys. They talk about the draft all the time. So I very highly suggest that you go follow them. Ray, what phone booth are we gonna find you at? No, I'm joking.
Like I said before, if you go on Twitter and you can comment on Miami, the Dolphins, or Notre Dame football program, I reply to most of them comments. I don't really get involved with every other team, because I really, except for the draft, I don't care about any other teams. So,
Definitely. And I believe your Twitter handle is ITH Ray.
It is.
Awesome.
ITH Ray Roberts. Again, I don't always pay attention to him. Like, I'm really, especially now with the draft coming up and work and family, I am really, really busy right now. So,
Hey, man, we're all busy, and, we do appreciate you being on the podcast every week. You're a staple for the RPO podcast, and we always love having you on, even though you don't like DBs. You don't like DBs.
Not that I don't like DBs. I only take them where they're valued, second round.
Disrespectful, Ray. You're so disrespectful. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out and checking us out. Make sure you check us out next week. We will be talking about wide receivers, breaking down wide receivers, and talking about your favorite wide receivers. This is a deep class, so make sure you come back and check that out next week as well. So I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got Ben over here, we got Jacob over here, and we got Ray. Thank you guys so much, and you guys have a great night.